Hello, happy faces. Poetry is the art of uniting pleasure with truth. With this quote, I welcome you in today's session. Children, as we have done the poem in the last session, so let's do the recap of it. In the poem, the poet describes the nature of creature, the squirrel, that he observes in his garden. The poet says that the squirrel attracts the attention by his playfulness and swift movements. Children, do you know poet uses poetic devices to create rhythm, enhance a poem's meaning, or intensify a mood or feeling? Poetic devices are a form of literary device used in poetry. These devices help piece the poem together, much like a hammer and nails join planks of wood together. Children, the best poetic devices are the ones that make the words sound the way you want to make someone feel. Poetic devices affect the sound of the poem, but not usually its meaning. So today we are going to learn about few poetic devices. So let's see the next slide. Children, as I said, poetic devices are tools that a poet can use to create rhythm, enhance a poem's meaning, or intensify a mood or feeling. So today we are going to discuss about few poetic devices: simile, metaphor, personification, alliteration, and rhyme. So let's start with simile. So simile. A simile is a figure of speech that directly compares two unlike things in an interesting way. Simile introduces vividness into what we say. Authors and poets utilize simile to convey their sentiments and thoughts through vivid word picture. So as you can see on the slide, simile compares two things using like, as, or as if. So let's see the first example. She is as slow as a snail. Here, she is being compared to a snail using the words as. In the next sentence, the dog smelled like an old gym socks. Here, the dog is being compared to a socks using the word like. So let's use simile in poem. My mom is like a cloud, comfortable and strong. I am like a raindrop, she keeps safe and sound. Now in this poem, mom is being compared to a cloud. And who is I? I represents the poet. So I, the poet, is being compared to a raindrop. I hope you all have understood simile. So let's move to the next figure of speech, metaphor. A metaphor uses the characteristics of one thing to describe something else. A metaphor is similar to a simile but does not use the words as or like. The purpose of using metaphor in literature or poems is to create an image in the mind of the reader. It is designed to convey a thought more forcefully than a plain statement would. So let's see some examples of metaphor. My grandpa says that life is a roller coaster. Here, life is being compared to a roller coaster. Comparison is done but without using like or as. Second, my teacher says that my brain is a computer. Here, brain is being compared to a computer. Next, mom says my room is a disaster zone. Here, the room is being compared to a disaster zone. Next, dad says that time is money. Now here, time is being compared to money. My mom is a walking encyclopedia. Means here mom is being compared to an encyclopedia. Mom says that I am the apple of her eye. Now here, mom has compared her child with the phrase, and the meaning of this phrase is the person who you love most. Next, dad says my grandma has a heart of gold. Again, the dad has compared the grandma with a phrase, and the meaning of this phrase is a person who is kind, caring and generous. In this way we can use metaphor in our writing. Now in the next slide I am going to show you the difference between metaphor and simile. So let's see the difference between simile and metaphor. Simile is a literary device that involves the comparison of two different objects or action, whereas metaphor is a literary device where a word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable, as you have seen in the previous slides. Similes use connecting words such as like and as, whereas metaphors do not use connecting words such as like and as. Similes make explicit comparison, whereas metaphors make implied comparison. Both can be used for writing literature and poems. So let's move to the next figure of speech. The next is personification. Personification is also a figure of speech in which a thing, an idea or an animal is given human attributes. The non-human objects are portrayed in such a way that we feel they have the ability to act like human beings. Personification means giving human characteristics to non-human things. As you can see on the screen, examples are given. The thunder roared in the evening sky. Here, the human characteristics of roaring is given to the thunder. In the next sentence, the leaves danced across the lawn. The human characteristics of dancing is given to the leaves. Let's see some more examples. On the screen, you can see some words are highlighted in the sentences, which means these are the human characteristics given to non-human things. So let's read the sentences. The car danced across the icy road. Here, the human characteristic dance. The angry clouds marched across the sky. Now in this sentence, two words are highlighted, angry and march, which are the qualities of human beings. The stars in the clear night sky winked at me. Now again in this sentence, the word winked is highlighted, which is also a human characteristic. The tulips nodded their heads in the breeze. Here, nodded their heads, which is also a human characteristic. So in this way, we can use this figure of speech in writing. So after this, let's move to the next figure of speech. The next is alliteration. Alliteration is a series of words, usually two or more neighboring words, have the same first consonant sound. Sometimes repetition of sounds occur inside a word. The purpose of using alliteration is to create melody, establish mood, call attention to important words and point out similarities and contrast. It is not necessary that every word in the sentence has to begin with the same letter. For example, soft, smooth snow falls silently from the sky. The snow is so silvery and small. Slowly you slip and slide on the snow. So here in this example, you can see that the first letter of the word starts with the consonant and the sound is same. As I said earlier, it is not necessary that every word in the sentence should begin with the same letter. Do you know, children, that we can use this poetic device in tongue twister also? Let's see one example. Bitty bought butter, but the butter was bitter. So Bitty bought better butter to make the bitter butter better. So children, have you seen? In this way, we can use this figure of speech in literature and poem. Let's move to the next figure of speech. Next is rhyme. A rhyme is a repetition of similar sounding words occurring at the end of lines in poems or songs. Children, all necessary rhymes contain rhyming words in order to facilitate learning for children as they enjoy reading them, and the presence of repetitive patterns enables them to memorize them effortlessly. Even we do not seem to forget the nursery rhymes we learn as children. Johnny, Johnny, yes papa, Baba, Baba, black sheep. And one more you can see on this screen, pop, pop, popcorn, popping in the pot, pop, pop, popcorn, eat it while it's hot. There are three types of rhyme: end rhyme, internal rhyme and slant rhyme. End rhyme, the rhyming of words at the end of a line. For example, they could not excuse the sin that was committed by his kin. Here you can see the last words of the lines are same. This is called end line. Internal rhyme, rhyme that occurs within a single line of poetry. For example, no baby, no, you may not go. Here the sound of no, no and go is called internal rhyme. Next is slant rhyme. Two words sound similar but do not have a perfect rhyme. For example, the words jackal and buckle. I hope you all have understood the poetic devices which we have discussed here. Let's find out which poetic device has been used here in this poem, The Squirrel. He wore a question mark for tail and overcoat of grey. He sat up straight to eat a nut he liked to tease and play. And if we ran around his tree, he went the other way. So in the second line, fourth line and the last line, the last word grey, play, way, all these three words are rhyming. So the first poetic device is rhyme. Second is the poet has given the human characteristics to an animal. So means personification. So two poetic devices have been used here. First is rhyme and second is personification. I hope you all have understood the poem as well as the poetic devices. We'll meet in the next session. Till then, happy time.